I see it.
Yeah, we are recording.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, here we go, folks. This meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act and is open to the media and public. Notices were duly posted and the meeting was advertised in the Hunterdon County Democrat and Courier News. Formal action may be taken. Can I get a roll call, please?
Ray Egbert. Here. Carol Hampel.
Here.
Ron McKaylen.
Here.
Carolyn Pogorski.
Here.
Andrew Saunders.
He says he's here on the chat.
Thomas Wallace.
He's muted.
And Doreen, can you unmute Andy?
Eric Burling.
Here.
Anna Shin.
Here.
Laura Simon.
Here. Okay, Jonathan, we're ready for the flag. Okay, can we stand for the flag salute, please? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
of
the
the
United
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
One
One
nation,
under
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and
and justice for all.
for all.
Moving into the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Doreen, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Hear me? All right. Welcome to our first virtual board meeting. There's a couple of agenda items I want to cover in my superintendent report this evening. First, we have uploaded a Three Bridges School highlight for board members and for the public. The video is available for you to view, but here we have Miss Robb and Mrs. Higgins from Three Bridges School to talk about the Three Bridges School highlight tonight, which features our preschool class. So I'll turn it over to Mrs. Higgins.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you all, even though on my screen you're very little. I'm very pleased to introduce to you Mrs. Carolyn Robb. So she's Carrie Robb. She's been teaching at Three Bridges School for 15 years. And during that time, she's taught kindergarten, first grade, and intervention. And at one point when the kindergarten program teacher opened up, the preschool teacher opened up, I knew the exact perfect person for the program, and that's Carrie Robb, because she knows exactly where the kids need to be school ready. And she works very well with kids with, any kind of a specific need that they have. She's very collaborative. And she's been in our program there now for 7 years, and she's doing a terrific job. So what we did was we highlighted what preschool looks like. And mostly our SEL program, which Mrs. Robb is going to tell you more about. And our program is really focused on how we're teaching the children to be ready to enter into kindergarten, ready to learn and be able to, establish their social and emotional learning skills at a very young age. And the studies show that the younger they start, the better they're able to get those skills. So anyway, I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Robb. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Robb. You can all hear me okay? I'm so glad my preschool class at Three Bridges is being highlighted tonight. I'm really sad that we couldn't be there in person because I really wanted all my little people to be there and be able to show you live what we do and how we do little greetings together. But the video that we created will give you a little glimpse into our preschool classroom. So I'm really, really hoping that you take the time to watch it. It's only about 7.5 minutes or so. I feel like after teaching in the early childhood environment for so long, I really know where my preschool students' skills need to be for kindergarten and beyond that. Part of that includes focusing a great deal on social emotional learning. We know how important that is for our little ones, but if they get that really good foundation in preschool, it's only going to take them so much further as they, grow in school. So part of what you're going to see highlighted in the video is how I do SEL with my students. You're going to see kindness and how acceptance is taught. Specifically during the Martin Luther King week in January, we did a whole lot on that. So you'll see a lot, highlighted in the video during that week specifically, but there's other things beyond that week that you'll see as well. And I really just hope you watch it and enjoy it. It's really sweet to see the little ones trying and showing their love and spreading kindness. So thank you. And I hope everyone's doing well.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Higgins and Mrs. Robb, for being here tonight. I had an opportunity to watch the video, and it does feature some really great SEL activities like bucket filling, sending kindness thoughts. So board members and members of the public, when you get an opportunity, please head over to our website to take a look at the video. Mrs. Higgins and Mrs. Robb, you're welcome to stay, but I'm going to move along with my superintendent's report to the district goals presentation. So in a moment, I'm going to present my screen like I did the American flag. And present district goals. So while I'm presenting, I just want to let you know that I can see my screen and I can see the presentation, but I can't see any of you. So Doreen, can you let me know if you can see my presentation, and then I'll start.
Dr. Hart, if anything comes up in the chat as comments or questions, I will let you know as well.
That sounds great. Just let me know. But you can see my presentation, right, Robin and Doreen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And if there's any questions from the board, I'll be happy to go back to any part of the presentation. Again, I can't see you, so if you have a question, feel free to stop me. So this is just a presentation to review a conversation that happened in September about district goals, and to let the board and the public know our current status of our district goals and some of the work that has been completed toward these goals. So I'd like to start with a John Dewey quote, a philosopher and an educator, that says, "Arriving at one goal is the starting point to another." And I thought that this was most appropriate for this year, because what I found is, as I was reflecting on the district goals for the year, is that these goals for this year really did springboard us into future work through our strategic plan. Some of the things that we accomplished under academics and SEL and climate and culture this year are goals that we're going to continue into the future with our new strategic plan, and we'll talk about that a little bit more next year. So just these are 3 goals for this year. The first is SEL and district climate and culture. It looks like the font is a little strange on my computer. I hope you can see that goal 1 is SEL and climate and culture. The goal was to build the knowledge and capacity of SEL practices for all staff and students, including climate and culture, with a focus on integrating SEL into academic learning. The second goal was related to academics, which was to continue to enhance our use of data and resources, specifically the 2 new coaches in the area of math and literacy, for the purpose of teacher learning and enhanced student academic achievement. And then finally, we're going to continue to enhance our safety and security practices in concert with local authorities to include all 4 aspects of the school emergency management process, which is mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. And this year, we really focused on response and recovery. So goal 1, SEL, climate and culture, it really does fit into our overall district goals, because prior to our new strategic plan, this was connected to our previous strategic plan under a previous administration, and those goals were goal 1, 2, and 4. And goal 1 talked about expanding academic and extracurricular opportunities for students. Goal 2 was to promote a healthy and caring environment for students. And then goal 4 was to enhance character education through learning opportunities for students. So this really was embedded into our previous strategic plan. It is now a set aside goal in our next strategic plan. And it is also aligned with board goal number 4. And the board had a goal this year when we talked back in September to ensure the integration of social emotional learning across the curriculum. So some of the things the SEL team accomplished this year includes building and district level SEL committees. They were formed, they met periodically throughout the year and developed action steps that each building would take to bring a cohesive SEL curriculum and program to each one of the buildings. We started to work with connection circles at RMS, which was a way for teachers and students to connect with one another during class periods. SEL curriculum writing began this year and will continue into the summer. We did a lot of parent and teacher professional development. This included a parent academy back in October and several opportunities for teacher professional development over the course of the year. The administrative team developed a look for us document. So when it comes to teacher observation, we took our Danielson teacher observation framework and we looked for SEL competencies that were already embedded into that framework, and we created a document in order to promote SEL in the classroom through the Danielson framework. And then finally, we really started to look closely at mental health and looking at opportunities for the future, including piloting a mental health curriculum over at the middle school. Unfortunately, the school closure began prior to us being able to pilot that curriculum, but we still have it on our docket to do either when we return to school or in the fall. Our second goal revolves around academics. It fits to our previous strategic plan, again, goal 1, that talked about opportunities for students for professional learning and supports. And this is also connected with our new strategic goal related to inquisitive learning. So some of the actions completed, I'm very proud to say that the literacy coach and the math coach were so wonderfully received this year as valuable resources for our teachers. I often found them in buildings, in classrooms, modeling instruction, talking about data, having meetings with teachers, and they really have proved to be a valuable resource. We enhanced our use of data. We did this through a lot of data conversations in CPT and faculty meetings, but also through Linkit, which is a tool that we implemented that gives us a lot of data in regards to student achievement that's very useful for building principals and for teachers. And then finally, our adoption of the Ready Classroom math program allowed us to look very deeply into diagnostics of math achievement, which has been very helpful to the teachers, and the math coach has been instrumental in rolling that out. And Literably is a running record software that monitors our student reading achievement. And those tools, those data tools, give us pretty quick turnaround with the data that we get so that we can take the data and turn it into action in the classroom and guide our instruction. Goal 3 is safety and security. So this connected to our strategic plan goal 2 that talked about a caring environment for students and staff, and it's aligned with board goal 3 for this year, which is to continue to update and refine safety and security measures to ensure the staff and students, the safety of all staff and students, excuse me. So we're proud to say that the vestibule project is completed and visitor protocols were updated, and a great school website was developed to provide parents and visitors with information on our vestibules and signing into the main offices with a pamphlet and a letter from me. We received feedback on our drill procedures from the Department of Education. They came to visit us twice this year, and our local law enforcement. And finally, Mrs. Kreil and I have started to really work on reunification procedures. We've identified procedures for reunification and locations for reunification should we ever need to evacuate our buildings and reunite families and students at alternate locations. So the big picture, what I like about this is our goals allowed us to really further develop SEL, really integrate the coaches into our culture as a district. They are really our valued resources. And this really does include their work with data analysis and helping teachers to look at data to monitor student achievement. We took further steps in school security. And really overall, what I took away from reflecting on these goals was this year's goals really set the stage for a strong future for Readington and a new strategic plan, which is going to last us for the next 3 to 5 years of work. So what's nice is these goals have continued to set the foundation. So I really look forward to next year and our new strategic plan. And then finally, I want to say a huge thank you. This really was a collaborative effort. These goals were, developed among the administrative team, but it's really the teachers and the administrators who have put forth much effort in achieving these goals and working collaboratively together. It really, really was a collaborative achievement, and I'm very proud to say that I think that we made some significant progress toward these goals, if not achieved all of these goals. So I will open it up to, I'm going to stop sharing and I'll open it up to any questions. And I can start sharing again if you'd like me to go back to the presentation. Oh, good, you're all still there. Okay.
Jonathan, if anyone wants to speak, they need to unmute themselves.
Right. So with regard to district goals, because this is still my superintendent's report, I'll take questions from the Board of Ed. We're not yet open for the public. So if there's any questions from the board, feel free to unmute and you can ask a question. Okay. Moving forward, Mr. Bowman and I have put the budget presentation for March back in the agenda for everyone to see. The budget was submitted to the county office for approval. The county office has approved of our tentative budget that we submitted after our March 17th meeting with some minor adjustments. So if the board or the public want to take a look at the previous presentation from last month, all of the priorities and the figures that are in that budget presentation are going to be formally adopted tonight as our budget for next year. And those priorities are listed in the presentation. A note to the board, though, the governor has extended the state's fiscal year due to the coronavirus pandemic through September 30th. We anticipate that this budget year from now until June will remain unchanged. We're not sure what the change in the fiscal year may bring for next budget year. We're awaiting to see what the treasurer's report will have to say about the state of New Jersey's finances, and that's later in May. We may have an update for you or some adjustments for you. But the good news is, right now, our budget is ready to be approved, and it is on the agenda tonight for final approval. Moving right along, schools continue to be closed, according to the governor, through May 15th. That's the deadline that he has provided to us related to the school closure. So my recent communications with parents, staff, and board members have indicated that we're going through phases of the school closure. And I talked about this with parents at the parent chat back in early April. Our first phase was immediate school closure, which was preparing for 2 weeks of online home instruction to maintain skills for students. We are now in the midst of phase 2, where we're beginning to introduce new concepts, skills, and content to students in virtual means. So those of you who are parents, board members who are parents, you should be seeing teachers introducing new material through either live videos through Zoom or Google Meet, or through recorded videos and other contact with students. So now we're entering our third phase. And dare I say, I think that phase 4 is coming. I think our third phase is really how do we function with district operations like this, exactly what we're doing tonight with an online board meeting from now until the end of the school year. The district still needs to operate, right? We still need to approve our budget. We've got ordering to do for next year. We've got hiring to do for next year. We've got building closures to do. We have end of this year school events. Right now, the administrative team is working to develop a handbook for how we're going to plan for all of our end of the year activities because we're in the school closure. We're also monitoring student learning to see if there's any adjustments that might need to be made to how we're approaching student learning with the school closure. We've been talking to teachers. I've surveyed teachers even earlier last week to maybe make some adjustments and tweak some of our online instruction. Any future changes or tweaks will be announced in my parent blast that I send out every Friday. I don't anticipate significant changes as we move forward with instruction, but perhaps minor tweaks or adjustments to scheduling or how we're introducing more online content because we are introducing new material. I think it's important for us to continue to provide the best education possible remotely and do our best to try to get through the curriculum the best we can. I anticipate a phase 4, which is, continued district operations and planning for reopening and what that looks like. And perhaps even there are discussions about a phase 5, which is if we need to do this again sometime in the fall, what are the lessons we've learned this time if we ever need to close in the future related to a public health emergency like this. So at some point we will be asking for feedback about what have we learned? If we had to do this again, what would we change, right? And I think that's important to reflect upon. Finally, a great big announcement. Reddington Middle School has achieved the U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon Award. Now all 4 of our schools have achieved the U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon status, which is an enormous achievement. So congratulations to Reddington Middle School and congratulations to the district for all 4 schools making this extraordinary achievement. That being said, I covered quite a bit of ground in my superintendent's report this evening. I'll open it up to questions from members of the Board of Education, if there are any. Well, thank you, everybody. As we move on with the agenda, I just want to let you know, since we are remote, since we are doing a virtual meeting, Mrs. Simon, I know that you'll take over the meeting, but everybody is on mute. If you want to ask a question, you'll have to unmute yourself in order to ask a question. Those of you who would like to participate and can see us in the Google Meet, it's really helpful if you put your name in the chat feature so that Mrs. Simon would be able to see your name and can call on you if members of the public want to ask a question. Those of you who are joining us by phone, *6 is the way you would unmute yourself on the phone if you wanted to ask a question. Of course, if your question is unable to be asked in this venue, please feel free to reach out to me and I can certainly take questions and I will certainly email you back. So with that, I conclude my superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hurt. We are now open to the public, limited to action items on the agenda. Anybody? Okay, not hearing anything, we'll move on. We had 2 correspondents since our last board meeting. One was regarding the budget and the second was regarding student absences. Administrative reports, can I get a motion to adopt 1.01 to 1.03?
So moved.
Ray?
Second.
Anna?
Yes.
Are there any questions regarding the motion? Not hearing any, can I get a roll call, please? Wait, there's somebody.
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Carol Hampel,
Yes.
Rob McCallan,
Yes.
Carolyn Pogorski,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Zwerling,
Yes.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes.
Passes.
There is a question from Carl L. Farrow. These goals appear to be pre-COVID-19. How are we adapting to reality and present thinking with our children and their current anxieties?
If Carl is on the call, Mrs. Simon, is okay if I take the question?
Yes.
Okay. If Carl is on the call, can you elaborate a little bit on your question? If not,
well, remember that it's *6, did you say, to unmute?
Yep, if you're joining us via phone, it's *6 to unmute. If you can see us, you can unmute, or perhaps Doreen can unmute you. If not, I can do my best to try to answer the question. And Carl, if need be, we can certainly have a phone conversation, or we can talk at a later date. But
he is saying that he cannot unmute. He is on a computer.
Doreen, are you able to unmute Carl?
I am trying, but I thought I did not have that capability.
Okay. How about I get started? I'll try my best to answer, Carl, and then if not, we can always talk at a later date. So just to put it in context, back in September each year, the board and the district set out with specific goals of things they want to achieve by the end of the school year. We work over the course of the school year in order to take action steps to achieve those goals. Around the end of April, beginning of May, I report to the Board of Education the status of district goals. And all of these were, you're correct, they were all pre-COVID. So I'm presenting district goals prior to COVID-19 with our regarding our goals, so that the board can see what status we have made up to this point. That being said, of course, COVID-19 has had us adapt and change based off of the fact that we are now in a worldwide pandemic. So the best thing that I could say is that there are some aspects of the goals that have been put on hold, and the board has a little bit more detail in a spreadsheet that I provided to them. I just talked tonight about the things that we achieved over the course of the year. Our goals now, when I mentioned in my superintendent's report, like phase 4, which is reopening schools, phase 5, if we ever have to do this again, our goal at this point with relation to COVID is when we go to reopen school, how can we do this effectively and efficiently, right? And keep in mind our children and keeping them safe and healthy. And then the second part is, if we were ever to have to do this again, what kinds of things would we change? So our goal now becomes, COVID-19 was not a goal back in September. Nobody saw this coming. So we set other district goals then. Now we have to adjust those goals. And a secondary goal that has now become a priority with this, pandemic has become, how do we reopen schools safely? And if we ever need to do this again, what have we learned through this process to make sure that if we ever have to do this again, we do it even better next time? I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, please feel free to email me.
Jonathan. Mr. Alfaro, Carl Alfaro, I think, was asking the question. If he wanted to speak, he could hit Control-D, I believe it is, on his own computer to unmute.
Mm-hmm.
If he did.
He wrote and he said, happy to speak further. Thank you. So I'll talk with him at a later date. Yep. Don't worry, Carl. We'll talk at a later date. Please shoot me. I don't have your contact information unless you put it in the chat box. But please contact me. Okay.
He apologizes.
Okay, we're moving on. We have the minutes. Can I get a motion to adopt 2.01 to 2.02, please?
So moved.
Okay, when Ray is a motion. Okay, who's second?
I'll second.
Anna.
Or whichever.
Okay, are there any questions or changes that need to be made on the minutes? Not hearing any. Can I get a roll call?
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Carol Hample,
Yes.
Ron McKalen,
Yes.
Carolyn Pogorski,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Zwirling,
Abstain.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes.
Passes.
Finance and facilities. Can I get a motion to adopt 3.01 to 3.13?
So moved.
Second.
Anna. We had a committee report.
We do. Okay, with the committee met on April 2nd. We just basically covered building sanitation. The buildings have been cleaned, sanitized, supply deliveries on a limited basis, bus staff through the exterior doors to the kitchen to pick up the food to be delivered to students, and signage will be posted at the playgrounds that play services are closed. For 2021 capital projects, the Three Bridges boiler project bids were open on March 27th. The lowest bid is approximately $385 by Unitemp, and the budget will need adjusted slightly as the winning bid was $15,000 more than the budgeted amount. And the project is expected before the school year ends and to be completed by the end of August, and the committee is recommending approval. The Hollenbrook roof project was advertised on April 1st. Bid opening to occur on April 21st. Not sure if that happened. And then bid walkthroughs, they were going to be by appointment only, and only exterior access to the roof was going to be given. And the project's expected to be beginning this summer. And the application for securing our Children's Future Bond Act grant is almost completed, and there's no recommendation currently. Number 3 was students on free and reduced status are receiving prepackaged meals during the school closure. Payments to vendors are being made twice per month, with a focus being on large payments with a potential late fee. And if no services are being performed, no payments are being made. Preschool payments and withdrawal options that were discussed. The preschool curriculum is being continued online, similar to other grades. Substitutes. We compared the schools, HBS versus other schools. We reviewed the fill rates, which is a percentage of coverage by substitute teachers when a teacher is absent. And the Hollenbrook fill rate is lower than the other schools, and processes are being reviewed to increase that percentage. We also reviewed substitute rates compared to surrounding districts. There's no recommendation currently. And we also reviewed the minimum wage rate change for January that's supposed to occur in January 2021. And this will probably raise the rate for certain clerical aides and secretaries. Again, no recommendation currently. For the budget at that time, it was sent to the county on March 20th. Minor comments were received. You'll see the final budget tonight, which the committee is recommending approval. The budget newspaper article is to be submitted by May 2020, and this will be in lieu this year of the budget postcard. As far as legislation around the coronavirus impact, there's a tentative state legislation that could become law that would affect the state health benefit plan. This is just new legislation, not related to COVID. Sorry. New employees will be required to sign up for one of two plans, and the district's monitoring this legislation. Also, there's tentative state legislation that will allow townships to withhold tax funds collected on behalf of the school districts. The committee sees this as a detriment to the district, and a letter was going to be drafted and sent to the district's legislator, and the resolution was going to be drafted also, and the committee is recommending approval of the resolution. And we also discussed the possibility of lower state aid amounts due in future years based on the current events. Other than everything discussed above, the finance agenda items are normal, and the committee is recommending approval, and the bills list is also normal. Next meeting scheduled for May 4th. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Ray. Are there any questions for Ray on the minutes or the agenda items?
Yes, I'd like to this is Eric. I'd like to just ask about the Hollenbrook roof relative to its amenability to later solar installation. Just a couple of questions. What is the warranty? Do you know on the roof? I know that when they put in solar panels, I think they look for a 25-year warranty, I believe. But just if you could look into the warranty on the roof relative to the requirements for getting a power purchase agreement for a solar installation. I'm not looking for an answer right now. I don't expect you to have one off the top of your head. If it's possible that can be looked into. And the square footage that's available on the roof, and whether or not the square footage, because we do have a substantial installation at that school already, whether putting the panels, additional panels on the roof, would exceed the needs of that school. So just some things to think about. I think maybe Jason would be the person best positioned to look into that.
And the short answer to that, actually, Eric, is there was a section on Hollenbrook that the solar panels could not be installed on because they were basically in the shade. So it was not that section. And I believe there's another section for the same reason. I think the area was too small. It's a raised section above the rest of the roof. Jason can follow up with that, but if that's my memory anyways.
Oh, so all the areas that are being repaired would not be amenable to a new installation?
Correct.
Oh, then never mind. Thank you.
Are there any other questions regarding the minutes or the agenda items? Don't forget to unmute. Not hearing any. Can I get a roll call, please?
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Carol Hampel,
Yes.
Rob McCallan.
Yes.
Carolyn Pogorski.
Yes.
Andrew Saunders.
Yes.
Lawrence Wallace.
Yes.
Eric Zwirling.
Yes.
Anna Shin.
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes.
Passes.
Education technology. Can I get a motion to adopt 4.01 to 4.06?
So moved.
Ray?
Second. And that's second was Ray.
Second, who did the motion?
Tom.
Tom, got it.
Tom actually
Okay.
did the motion on the finance minutes too.
Thank you. It's hard to hear just by the voice. Okay, for education technology, we had a committee report.
Yes, we have two. So the committee met on April 1st. We reviewed the math iReady diagnostics. So overall, there was an improvement in all grades. Sorry. So the nice thing about the iReady is that they can see individual student results as well as what's the appropriate next step for each student. So the plan for next year is to move the iReady diagnostics over to the middle school, which is currently using Freckle as a diagnostic and IXL for lesson work. The Child Assault Prevention Grant, which is on the agenda for tonight. The goal of that is to improve the school climate, strengthen families, and reduce students' vulnerability to assault and bullying. We would provide training to teachers at an in-service day, training to parents, and training to students. We're going to start with a pilot at one classroom per grade at RMS, and the grant is covered. The grant covers 70% of the cost of the program. Online home instruction during school closure. Now, this is back from the minutes of April 1st. There was a survey sent to the teachers. We were moving towards delivering new instruction no later than April 6th. And just a note that the Department of Education requires 10 hours a week for home instruction. Tolerance read alouds for grades K through 5. We are concentrating the efforts early in grades K through 1 to identify bias early and adjust the mindset before it can take hold. An update on Literably. The second middle interview was due March 23rd, which was after the closure, so the interval is on hold. And we're working on fluency instruction. The literacy coach is assisting teachers with the Literably tools. NJ SLA testing and district benchmark assessments are suspended. And our next meeting was Friday, April 21st. So I'll move to those minutes. Actually, it was April 24th minutes. So an update on the home instruction from April 1st to April 24th. We began introducing new material, and we are working on our next phase of remote instruction, which includes new material and continuing with district operations. As far as attendance, participation, and welfare checks, we are continuing with the current requirements, meaning question of the days for the lower grades, and the exit interviews at RMS. If we encounter a situation where we're not hearing from a student and we can't get in touch with them, then we do have a plan in place for the police to do a wellness check to make sure that everybody's okay. And a letter was sent actually later on Friday asking parents from the superintendent to ensure that parents are helping their students stay engaged and participating in their work. As far as grading for marking period 4, we are reviewing options. It looks like elementary is going to stay as is, where they are graded on performance and achievement without a letter grade. It looks like Hollenbrook will, for marking period 4, follow the elementary schools and that they won't have a letter grade. And it is not finalized at the middle school, but will likely include more grading for participation, which means turning in assignments, engaging in Zoom, less so on tests and quizzes. As far as end of the year assessments, in math, the first and second performance tasks and diagnostic were given, and postponed is the third performance task and the third diagnostic, but the third diagnostic can be given online. The end of the year assessment will only be given if the school is reopened before the end of the year. For language arts, the beginning of the year and first interval running records were given. The narrative benchmark was done, and the opinion or information benchmark, depending on the grade level, 2 have been taken, and there are 3 at each level. So what is postponed for ELA, depending on the grade, the opinion or information benchmark is postponed. And the third interval and running records, if school is reopened before the end of the year, we will complete them, but not if the school is not reopened. As far as criteria for students entering into gifted and talented, honors, and advanced, because we cannot assess as normal, the way we'll move forward in each of those areas. For math, students will remain in the current placement. Teachers and parents who feel that a change in placement is needed will have a study guide and assessment in the summer to see if the move is appropriate. In humanities, for gifted and talented, the criteria remains the same because we use last year's scores, the current LSATs, which were already given, and teacher recommendations. And for honors, we will use the NJ SLA score, excuse me, from last year, classroom grades and teacher recommendations, the first interval running record, and 2 writing benchmarks. As far as tech support and parent support, there's a website for parents and students that addresses the different technological tools that the school is utilizing, such as Google Meet and Classroom, and it gives students and parents instruction on how to access the different information, how to get information out of the different websites. And if parents have requested Chromebooks or iPads that were not given when we started the at-home process, they've been getting provided by the technology team. Field trips for parents. We will determine on May 15th if any field trips will still occur, and if the schools will not reopen, we have a process in place to refund the parents. We reviewed the intervention recommendations for next school year. The recommendations were as follows. Intervention will be supplemental and not replacement in the classroom. It will begin earlier in the school year. It create a standard criteria across the district, across all schools. And we will begin utilizing RTI as a standardized process as suggested by CUSAC policy. A pilot update on the VAIL program. Grades 4 and 5 assessments were completed before we left school. The third grade did not finish the assessment. The lowest performing students had significant improvements in their grades, and we recommend launching in grades 3 through 5 next year. For summer enrichment, pre-registration online will be opening to save a spot and gauge interest, but there will not be any payment required. And there was also a discussion on how to foster mental health to students. There was an idea thrown out about having open Zoom meetings with counselors so students could just get on and socialize just as a way for them to interact with their peers. And our next meeting is Thursday, May 14th at 8:30 a.m. That's it.
Thank you, Carol. Are there any questions on the minutes or the agenda items? Don't forget to unmute. I'm not really sure how long to wait. I'm not hearing anything, so can I get a roll call, please?
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Carol Hample,
Yes.
Ron McKalen,
Yes.
Colin Pogorski,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Swirling,
Yes.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay, personnel. Can I get a motion to adopt 5.01 to 5.05, please?
So moved.
Anna?
Second from Ray.
Ray. Okay, thank you. We have a committee report.
Yes. Committee met on April 2nd. Some items that were discussed were staffing, the director of pupil services search, some job descriptions, non-aligned renewals with salary increases, if plausible, and then personnel issues. The agenda items were job descriptions and typical items, and our next meeting is May 4th at 10 o'clock.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the minutes or the agenda items? Don't forget to unmute.
Yes, I'd like to just comment and thank the Personnel Committee for preparing the job description for the Coordinator of Green Initiatives and Sustainability. And I think that that's going to be a significant addition to the district's efforts. And I thank them for their efforts.
Are there any other questions or comments? Not hearing anything. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Ray Egbert,
Yes.
Carol Hample,
Yes.
Ron McKalen,
Yes.
Colin Pogorski,
Yes.
Andrew Saunders,
Yes.
Thomas Wallace,
Yes.
Eric Swerling,
Yeah.
Anna Shin,
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes.
Passes.
Yeah,
Mrs. Time, if I could interrupt for just 1 second, I just want to let the board know that Stacy Beagle, our new Director of Special Services, is online with us here tonight. And congratulations, Stacy. Welcome to the team.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I am so excited. So excited.
You're so funny. You're cute.
No, wait. Oh, just wait. I am so excited. Thank you so much.
Okay. So
Hey, welcome, Stacey. It's Kristen. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all. You have no idea how excited I am. I can't wait for July 1st. Actually, I start my bugging you before that. So, Dr. Hart, thank you.
You're very welcome, Stacy. Please bug me all you want.
I will.
Okay, so communication. We don't have any items listed, and I don't believe there was a committee report. Unfinished business. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring up? Don't forget to unmute. Not hearing any new business from the board. Eric, would you like to give a green committee update?
Yes, we met on April 22nd, which was the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, which unfortunately we spent under lockdown. But it was a productive meeting. Betsy Freeman and two of her students, Eddie and Chris, gave a really excellent presentation on the Global Goals Green Team. They launched their Go Green initiative, and specifically they have a really good website that was given a tab on the RMS main website. So I really encourage people to go over to the RMS main webpage, and along the top there's a tab for that says Go Green. It is very timely and curated content, because there's just so much content out there that they really carefully tried to select things that were useful and timely. There's stuff currently about COVID, how to make masks, templates for masks. There's also talking about growing victory gardens. It even inspired me to go out and I just planted a flat of romaine lettuce for the food bank today, just as a matter of fact. An excellent website. We talked about, then Don Race gave a presentation on the facilities. He talked about the boiler update. He talked about at Three Bridges, talked about the school closures, that the buildings and the grounds still obviously have to be maintained and cared for. Talking about delivery of the lunches. We also discussed, of course, the National Green Ribbon that we won, and discussing the possibility of having some sort of a celebration this fall to commemorate the event. Dawn discussed the lighting install is completed, that there are projects that are going to be completed over the summer, and that he's going to be using the opportunity to for the empty buildings to catch up on a lot. Sustainable Jersey and other grants, Jody Betterman commented that there were 2 open grants that we could not complete because of the lockdown. She's currently asking for no cost extensions for those grants to be completed. We discussed the new position that was just passed moments ago. We discussed the job. We discussed the range of tasks that would be expected of the person filling that job. And we're glad we talked about approval by the full board, which we now have, and that the celebration for Earth Day will be postponed until this fall. There is going to be one meeting. There needs to be one meeting left for this year, but that has yet to be scheduled. And that is the my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the committee minutes? Don't forget to unmute. I'm not hearing any, so thank you very much, Eric. We are now open to the public. That's anything on or off the agenda. We did have one comment that came through. Let's see.
Kelly Gork.
Thank you. She says, I have concerns about the minimal amount of teacher instruction and availability during the day.
Sorry, my dog has a question too.
Mrs. Simon, would you like me to answer?
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. So Kelly, what I mentioned earlier and under my superintendent's report that we still are making some adjustments as we're now a couple weeks into introducing new content, new instruction. So this is our next phase. So there are some tweaks that are coming in regard to some minor scheduling changes, particularly for the middle school, and we're going to be looking at the elementary coming up soon. Related to your question, though, I would say if you do have some specific concerns, I would absolutely advocate you reaching out to the teacher and or the principal of the school building, because for comments or concerns like yours, I've also received comments and concerns in the other direction that some students are really struggling with the amount of work, grades K through 8. So our goal is not necessarily to overwhelm students, but to continue providing good instruction. But we're really trying to find a balance of providing appropriate amounts of work. So I would say start with your teachers and the building principal. If you still continue to have concerns, please feel free to reach out to me, but also know that grading practices are going to come into play, as well as a couple of tweaks, particularly at the middle school level, are going to be coming within the next week or so. But thank you for your comments.
I don't think any other comments came through. Robin, did you see anything?
No, nothing written.
Is there anybody on the line that questions or comments? Alrighty. That would conclude our meeting. We're going to move into executive session. Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session in accordance with the Sunshine Law to discuss the superintendent evaluation and training for approximately 30 minutes, at which time the board expects to return to public session where no action will be taken. The matters discussed will be made public if and when the circumstances requiring confidentiality no longer exist. However, it is not presently known when such circumstances will exist. Can I get that motion?
So moved.
Second. Carol, second.
Thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Ray Egbert.
Yes.
Carol Ample.
Yes.
Ron McKalen.
Yes.
Carolyn Pogorski.
Yes.
Andrew Saunders.
Yes.
Thomas Wallace.
Yes.
Eric Swirling.
Eric?
Eric Swirling.
Yes.
So with us? Here we go.
Yep.
Anna Shin.
Yes.
Laura Simon.
Yes. So 8 o'clock. All right. So we'll see you next time.
Great job, everybody. Good job with our first virtual meeting. This was very good.
Are there any other comments here?
We got one from Alice.
Very nice. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you.
So do we now proceed to executive session?
Right. So
Yeah. there's a separate link that Dr. Hart had sent out,
Gotcha.
and we're going to hop on that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Eric, if you can't find that, just text me and I'll send it to you.
No, Jason thoughtfully provided that to me.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. We'll see you over there. Bye-bye, everyone.
Stacy, nice
All
meeting
right,
you.
bye, Stacy.
Bye, Stacy. Welcome aboard.
Welcome. Talk to you soon.
Good, thank
Be well,
you.
everybody.